Trump, once in a while, says stuff that is actually good. He almost never actually follows through and lives up to it. But once in a while, he says stuff that's actually good. Like last week, he was going around and saying, maybe we don't need FEMA. Maybe all this disaster relief should be left up to the states and we need to get rid of FEMA. And I am 100% behind that. I would like to see FEMA go to zero and have zero federal aid for natural disasters. States can take care of it. Maybe states, as a consequence of that, will actually deregulate their insurance markets. So insurance actually starts reflecting risk, and therefore these natural disasters are not as disastrous as they are today when insurance doesn't provide the right incentives. And then if there's going to be a massive pool of money used to bail people out for living in flood zones and for living in fire zones and for living in hurricane zones, then let it be done at the state level, and then maybe state voters will get upset about stuff like that and force the government to modify its policies. Much more likely to happen than at the federal level. And there's absolutely no reason why people who live in Minnesota, who are used to having a natural disaster every frigging winter, because a winter in Minnesota is, by definition, a natural disaster. And yet they never get any FEMA money. And they subsidize people who maybe have second homes on the coast of the Gulf in hurricane zones, or people who build homes in what are clear-cut flood zones, or like really expensive homes in what are fire zones. The people in Minnesota who never use FEMA, right, they get to subsidize all these other places. And that's absurd and ridiculous. And that's what, making it a federal program, and that shouldn't exist at all. There should be no government bailout. But making it a federal program is particularly offensive. So I am 100% behind getting rid of FEMA. Sadly, and you can, I'm willing to bet anybody online, any of you Trump supporters, that it will never happen. Not never. It won't happen under Trump. First of all, it has to go through Congress. Congress would have to vote to get rid of FEMA, and there's no way congressmen from the FEMA receiving money states will ever agree to that. And it also needs a president who's actually committed to the things he says and actually follows through and actually believes in stuff other than tariffs and deportation, which are things, I think, the only two things that Trump really believes in and is really going to follow through on. I don't believe he'll follow through in FEMA. His executive order to look into FEMA, and because it's so inefficient. We know it's inefficient. You remember, what was the hurricane that swept through New Orleans? And, Walmart was far better at getting aid to people than FEMA was. Get rid of FEMA. I wish Donald Trump was somebody who would actually follow through on some of the stuff that he actually said that is actually bad. That is actually good. That is actually good. Jones says, Trump's supporter sounds so bad. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Hurricane Katrina was the one in New Orleans that devastated New Orleans, and FEMA was so terrible in getting aid. So there's nothing new about Trump's observation. He actually said aloud what a lot of people think, let's get rid of FEMA. Now, follow through. Let's see ya. Dodge, where's Doge? What Doge should follow through, should get rid of FEMA, should put it on the agenda, and then go to Congress, twist arms, force them to pass a bill that defunds FEMA forever. That would be so cool. Won't happen. Won't happen.